All right, guys. Okay, so there's a little bit of a hiccup. So, you know what? Hold on. I need to find a way to. Okay, give it 1 second. I think I got the wrong chat earlier. All right, guys. All right, guys. Michael in the chat. Okay, so what is going on? How's everybody doing today? Okay, 1 second, you guys. Let me fix the mic real quick. Okay, I think that's the stand just doesn't want to stay put. All right, so what is going on today, you guys? Now, nothing much exciting, but you know, it's the price kind of creeping up. But what most exciting is that you see a lot more inside buyer, right? So, Adam, for the life of me, I could not ever say his name. Alan? Ellen? You have no idea how many times I practice his name out loud. Adel. I need to just say AA, but then, you know, I'm afraid that people might think about Adam Aaron instead, you know? So, Alan, Adam, Adel. There you go. What a name. Goodness. Okay. But anyway, so he add more. I mean, only 10,000 only, right? Only $500,000 worth of share. Just $500,000 laying around somewhere. It's okay, no big deal, you know. It's not new worthy or anything like that. It's okay, you know. Just people buying shares and of GME at $25 a share. No big deal. Don't worry about it. And of course, you know, we see a lot of dumping situation here. There are a lot of speculation. Of course, I am one of them as well, speculating that it perhaps could be no families here. Oh, okay. Thank you, Carlos. I appreciate that. But all right. But anyway, so a lot of speculation that this might be Rowan Kitty. Okay. And of course, my expectation is having Nat Turner. So perhaps Nat Turner is going to be next. And it seems like it's strategic too, right? They're just rolling in one by one. And so I don't know, you guys. I am so excited for this year. I don't know if it's gonna run anytime soon, but I could feel it. I could feel the energy. I could feel, you know, what is going on right now. Again, regardless of what happened, whether the Fed's gonna lower the rate or not, it really doesn't matter. I'm telling you, it's that resilient. GME is this resilient, you guys. Now, I just heard about Jerome Powell may not even lower the rate at all. Okay? Could just be tough talk, but when push come to shove, right? If the economy is not doing well, CPI came out to be kind of lower than expectation. So that's a good point, but again, the inflation is still high, relatively. There's still the rate of inflation is lower. It doesn't mean that inflation is still is not happening. You know, you see it in your bill, you see it in everything that you buy, right? So, But the point is that it's going to it's been slowing down already. If you look at the trueflation, right, it's been 1%, or I mean, it's been less than 2%. But the CPI today came out like over 2%, something like that. I didn't see the exact number, you guys. I apologize for that. You always be the family when it's you're in the room. Of course. If they don't want to be family, it's okay. No harm, no foul. They'll ask to be a family soon when GME's gonna be $1,000 a share soon. I don't know, you guys. I'm just kidding. I don't even know how high, but I just know that it's going to be higher. There's a lot of enthusiasm, like people making memes again, right? Who knows if this is going to be something to behold. But again, with volatility comes a lot of manipulation as well. You see, wait, this is a great time to build on base. Okay. Did he really say that? I don't know. Let me see. What else? What else is new today? I feel good today. Hey, what's up, Jesus? How are you doing today? Where is the kitty? Did he left the country? I have no idea, Carlos. Are you a friend or a foe? I have to ask you that because it depends, if you are a friend, I will tell you the truth. But if you are a foe, I will lie to you about that. Okay, so there you go. I mean, we're selective around here. Okay, we're part of a cult, so. Oh my God. Okay, so let's listen in real quick here.
All right, so number 3, and this is a big one for me, insider buying. I weight this quite heavily, I've learned, especially during market sell-offs. And what I find is that any insider buying is better than no insider buying. But there's a couple things I love to see in particular, like buying by prominent execs, CEO, chairman of the board, CFO, buying by a large number of insiders. 3 to 4 is good. 5+ is better. Sometimes you see like 10+, and you're like, what the hell is going on? 10+, like $1 million, $2 million, $5 million. It's like, what is going on there? I might even buy just based on that, right? Buying of it, I like to say at least 200, 300K. That's good. $500,000+ is better, right? Some people will look at how much they're buying in relation to their compensation or the size of the company, revenues, or market cap. Those are good ideas. I just find just the general level of it I find that tends to be a good indicator. And then finally, just seeing if the insiders are buying after the stock has sold off when it's potential.
Yeah, there you go. So he's lurking. I'm sure he's lurking right now. Gonna drink the Jimmy Kool-Aid. Yeah. I had all right. Okay. Consider us friends then. Great start to the conversation, sir. I will let you decide if you okay. All right. Considered as friends. All right. Welcome to the cult. Well, friends, yes. Okay, that's a lot of shares for sure. So I hats off to you. All right. Hopefully you have a good point average. But okay. So let's talk about what is going on here. Of course, we are seeing a lot of insider buying already. It's been 3. So it was CEO, and then we have Larry Chain, and then now we have AA over here. I cannot say his name. I'm sorry. I tried so many times. I fail every time. So you could say it yourself right there. All right, and then oh my goodness. So what is going on? I think that they're setting up for something great, you guys. Perhaps, annual shareholder meeting, announcement of buying Bitcoin. Can you imagine if they buy like the whole freaking $6 billion? Is it possible? I mean, can I even say that? um, I mean, with the Bitcoin dip, right? Now, Bitcoin could still come down a little bit, you guys, but there's a lot of development in Bitcoin. You have no idea how many states, how many I don't know, again, like I mean in crypto general, I mean crypto in general, not just Bitcoin, but Bitcoin has been talked about, the reserve currency type thing. And of course, that rumor is still there, you guys. The US is going to buy Bitcoin. They're just not going to tell you where the money comes from. They're trying to find ways to buy it. And of course, the rumor is that they're going to sell gold or repricing gold and buy Bitcoin with it type thing, right? And so I don't know how that would work out, but I'll just let that headache to be the administration headache. I'm sure they're very smart people, you guys. Like they'll figure out something. And really, I feel like the reason why they would want Bitcoin on the book, right, is because it's to alleviate some of the pressure from the dollar being the global demand, because that is the double-edged sword that we have to juggle as United States. Because the more the world needs dollars, the more the Federal Reserve would have to print into existence, or just, again, reverse repo into existence, okay? They already thought about bailing out these hedge funds already. Where do you think the money is going to come from? It's going to come from the Fed. It's the lender of last resort. And when you continuously bailing these people out, it creates incentive to do more and more of that, because they technically have no risk, right? These people don't suffer any consequences, the real consequences we're talking about here. Like, these people should lose their business, okay, while they are doing whatever's, financial gymnastic they're doing right now to try to, get ahead. But then the point is that you cannot, it's the analogy that people were placing in, where you pick a penny off of the speeding train or something and try to do that so many times. And then, inevitably you're going to get hit, because sometimes you get exhausted, right? So how many times can you do that without, getting exhausted? So this is what we're having right now, the financial calamities that's going to happen. But again, that's not our fault. I'm telling you, I'm not saying we're going to break anything yet, but I feel like they're going to print to, support the collapse or whatever, or at least to prop up the economy a little bit. The Fed's gonna have to print. They may not lower the rate, but they're gonna find other ways, you guys. I'm telling you. I've seen so many of this movie already. So I heard about. But anyway, so let me look at the price real quick. Give me 1 second here. Not sure why I went on to that, but I want to show you something real quick here. There was a few video I saw that the collapse. No, okay, this one right here. Okay, I'll do that later. But anyway, so let's look at the price action real quick. Now, people equate this time over here down to what happened back in 21 right here. But they were shrinking it down to 1 hour, which I kind of agree. But who knows? I mean, Fractal has its way of, faking you out. Oops, 1 hour. I have to string the other one, huh? Shoot. Too big. Goodness gracious. The most boring show ever, huh? I mean, how long can you just sit here and listening to me babbling? Nothing at all. Just about hedge fund. Hedge fund this, hedge fund that, GME this, GME that. Gotta be boring, right? Gotta be. I mean, you know. Alright, you guys. So, fractal, okay, means that it might not happen. It's a lot of assumption here. So, please don't make any trade based on this. Just a reference. Just a reference. Okay. But yeah, so that pattern is kind of similar, very similar to that. Right there. So you see the ups and downs. This is maybe a little bit like this. So we're getting close, cutting close. Oh, there we go. It's crazy. How is I mean, no wonder. I mean, Roy Kitty was able to kind of time it so perfectly. I mean, within a couple of days, right? So, if these May calls that he's buying right now, or I mean, who knows if it's him? It could be hedge fund try to mimic him too, and fake retail out as well, right? So be aware that that may happen as well. You know, you get fake out all the time because they want to entice you to buy calls. Okay, so make sure that that is the case. But if you believe it to be Roy Kitty, then yeah, get excited. So again, that's just what I saw there too, and I see a couple of people on X kind of make that comparison too. Will this finally shut down? I mean, see, look, people are trying to make an association where Jimmy's gonna buy Bed Bath and Beyond and all that stuff. So again, until I see it, I will believe it. Okay, but hey, I really think that this June, the June earnings is going to be the announcement of Bitcoin on the balance sheets there, and how much. That's the shocking factor, right? Whether they're gonna go all in or just a portion or just 3 billion or just 1.5 billion dollars worth of Bitcoin at whatever price, right? Hopefully they could catch it at the 75, the dip, right? Perfectly at the lowest dip right there. But again, if you look at the Bitcoin right now, leadership might be able to add another. But can you imagine if they time it so perfectly that they got it at $75,000? Great price point average already. But remember, there was a person who predicted that it might come down to 62, and I tend to agree with that a little bit here, just because there might be a little bit more fear on the dollar collapsing news or type of thing, because like the index was doing something crazy, the bond market's doing something crazy too. TLT went down in value, so that means the rate's going to go up in price a little bit here, so down to $85 again. Not to say that that is a bad thing. It just means that the rate wants to go higher. Whether because people need dollars so desperately, to settle their trade or whatever, right? Because hedge fund, right? They're stupid. They do something and then they need collateral and then they just like have to shuffle things around. So this could be just temporarily people freaking out. They need cash, and there you go. The only cash that they have is from Treasury. Now China has a lot of Treasury, U.S. Treasury too. So this could be the part of their retaliation, rather than the tariff situation here too. With the bond issue thing that we have, this is illiquid at the moment because if you look at the volume, I'm sure you see volume very low compared to other time. Hold on, let me see. Volume. Oh, it's actually higher. So that means there's a lot of buying and selling activity, more selling over here. But there's a lot of activity in people buying and selling. But for me, I like long-term treasury bond. The only thing is that, yes, you have the risk of people dumping their bag on you, but that means that you have higher yield. So, even if leadership was able to lock in 5%, remember yesterday it was 5%, you guys. So 5% for 20 years or 30 years, that's actually pretty good, It's stable, stable income coming in for 30 years. And even if it's just $1 billion was to lock into that, of course, I would love to, for him to park it in Bitcoin because I'm sure in 30 years you're going to receive more than 5%. But 5% is like for every single year, though, for 30 years. This is just like a baseline, you guys. I'm just speculating here. So $1 billion, that's $50 million every year. Just $1 billion worth of treasury for 20 years. So that's pretty good security, you guys, I'm telling you. And that would give you, $1 billion in 20 years. Of course, again, this is just a baseline. So we could weather the storm. $50 million a year is a lot of money for the cushion, just in case people, freaking out whether we're not going to have enough asset and all that stuff. Now, if you want to be safer, we could do $2 billion locking in for 5% at 20 years, right? Why 20 years? Well, because again, so with this is just interest alone, okay? But if you buy TLT, this thing will go up in value when the Federal Reserve's gonna lower the rate eventually. Of course, if history serve well, if it's correctly predicting the future, in the past, what happened when the calamity hits, right? They typically either print money or lower the rates to stimulate the economy. Those are the only tools they have. And either way, it's inflationary. Okay. So that means, more and more people would flock into this type of high rates environment. And when the more people buy into the high rates, the lower the rate, because then, whoever get in first get the highest rate of return versus people who didn't get in, but at some point, 2% is still a lot for, when you're trying to escape the crash. So again, that is what we're waiting for, okay? That people are flying to safety. But typically, if they're flying to safety, right, they probably would sell something like GME, not to scare you or anything like that, but that's your opportunity right there because you know what GME is, okay? The most stable stock ever with the best safety net you could ever imagine. And not only that, you get to experience the upside as well because the equity and now Bitcoin on the balance sheet. So that's the volatility you want. And convertible note as well, right? Don't forget the convertible bond traders out there. Arbitrage, right? Arbitrage. Kitty last pose I remember was a sad dog, okay, waiting for someone or something or someone. And the dog eventually died of the old age. What did he means with this pose? Did he get bored trying to wait? I mean, you could interpret that as much as you can. Sorry. You could interpret that as anything you wanted to. The way I interpret that is that he's loyal to the stock and he's willing to wait as long as it needs to, including, dying for the cause. So that's in the nutshell on the face surface, right? On the surface. But if you remember that post, then you should remember the date as well. And the date was January 2nd, 2020, 2000, the year 2000. And so if you go back to that date on the SPY, you see that it's crashing. Okay. So the stock market is crashing on that day. And what happened, do you think, when the stock crashed? So maybe he's predicting the crash right here. Somewhere. We're over here. The last hurrah and then downtrend. I don't know. I'm just speculating like anyone, you guys. So who knows? But I really think, the meaning of it is just waiting as long as it needs. So loyal to the stock and to the owners, which is, yeah, sure, Ryan Cohen and all that stuff. So maybe this is what he's waiting for, the insider buying and, people posting and all that stuff. So, and the volatility swap ending, data driven type of thing. But there has been an evidence where people think that it was him buying into the calls right here, May 16. You see a lot of 5,000 contract or something like that getting in. So that's good. That's good. I predict you will see 1 million shares purchased from one director. Okay, in the near future. Oh, Nat Turner? That would be great, right? I don't know who would have $20 million to buy 1 million shares. That'd be crazy, huh? Anywho, and then you see this leverage trading thing, T-Rex or whatever. Target's fun. So this is encouraging. It just shows that people are interested in it and interested in creating volatility within this stock. Of course, this is ETF, so it could be used to short the company too. So just be careful with that. And it's gonna, getting more people excited about the stock again. That's good. This MSTR, MSTU or whatever, ticker symbol that I actually have some too with that. Because the volatility of MSTR, you could really play the option either way too. So you really could generate some of the income based on that. Again, that's why we're predicting that Jimmy's gonna ensue some of that. I really think that. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Carlos. You're friends. We're friends now, so there's no lies between us. Just straight up truth, facts. Carter! Carter's in the house. How do you feel about about Adol adding $10,000 or 10,000 shares more. I mean, who has $500,000 just laying around some? Like, I wish I have that life, you guys. Like, what a life. It's like, oh, here we go, cash. Only $500,000 right there. Okay, so this is the T plus 3, T plus whatever, all of that still around. I don't know. I don't like that at all. Okay, so people again, people have to pay attention, right? And of course, this is the thumping situation again. I don't know if I just mentioned that or not. And this gentleman here posts something else with Trump. I think he said something else about Jimmy too. Something about like if you have $50,000, you would put it into Jimmy or something like that. I think it was responding to someone. See if I could find it. He might deleted it though. Oh man. That's fine. It's okay. But yeah, this gentleman has been kind of posting Jimmy, and whether that's to create engagement on his portfolio or not, I have no idea. More insider buying causing they will be announcing Bitcoin soon. No brainer. Of course, of course. I love how you have like Cambodian flag right there. I love it. All right. Ron Kitty speak about. Yep, I just played that video too. So we're on the same page. Of course, the filter fish or whatever he was talking about. What does he like? Ryan Cohen watch Roy and Kitty, and kind of like supporting each other in that sense. So that's pretty cool to see. But I don't know if they're communicating, cryptically through tweets and stuff. Who knows? That's so funny though. Now, again, Jimmy's gonna be fine, but I think the other industry that we could get excited about as well is because is the the blockchain industry, and we also could bleed into that role as well. That the fact that people are building on this ADA and all that stuff. It's an infrastructure for sure to again, as a company, you want to build something that people love. So what I would love GME to do is to build a platform, like blockchain technology, where you could store your own crypto and all that stuff and really plugged into the global liquidity that is to come. Of course, there's a lot of exciting chain out there, but one of the other chains that I want him to kind of take a look into is the XRP ledger. There's a lot of promising, development there that no other publicly traded company really looked into the XRP ledger yet. And so if Jimmy could be the first mover in that, would be great. With now all the regulatory clarity on the chain in and of itself, I feel like that's the biggest opportunity. Next one, again, we don't have to take a look at that, but if we want to be a juggernaut on everything transfer, right? I think that's a good one to look into. But again, that's like 5, 6, 7 years to go, you guys. Like, you need to build something that people want, and that's up. So now this gentleman here go to jail because he created a Silk Road, where people could use Bitcoin to buy into some crazy stuff. So I'm not going to get into that. But he got released by Trump, full pardon. And I think those Bitcoin that the US government had was his. It was confiscated by that website that he got. But yeah, most of the Bitcoin that the US has right now is his Bitcoin. But at the time, Bitcoin was like what, $1 or $2 or $3 or something, like very cheap, you guys, back then. So that's why people spend Bitcoin willy nilly, thinking that it's not worth anything. So that's why you hear story where, oh, I just spent $500,000 buying an ounce of wheat or something on that platform. But again, it's a proof of concept for sure that Bitcoin is a freedom money type thing, and that's where the narrative grows from then on. Where why did the U.S. government place such a severe punishment at the time before that on a entrepreneur type of people? I mean, again, the reason why he was arrested is because he was building a website against the law type thing, right? But again, the punishment is just so severe that you have to wonder, why is it so severe? It's because they want to make example of people who are try to bend the law, something. But what he's guilty of is just building a platform that people, it's almost like an eBay, okay? But people could sell all sorts of stuff, right? And mostly people sell weeds, people sell hard drugs, right? Because that was the concept, is that people could have the freedom to use Bitcoin to buy anything without repercussion, as long as you're not harming anyone, right? Of course, And I guess the whole story is that he was arrested and got, but nobody knew who he was. It was very hard to pinpoint who he was. But then, Bitcoin transaction trace and all that stuff was able to be traced to him. Pretty interesting story, but he's gonna do an interview the first time. That'll be a interesting, fun interview to listen to. And so a lot of development on blockchain there. That's why I'm so bullish on that. And not to advocate people to buy anything, but I feel like, the president of the United States tells you what to buy and you better listen. Just like you remember yesterday, if you listen to him, you probably make tons of money. But it's worth at least taking a look at, all the 5 coins that he mentioned on one tweet. Remember that? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, ADA, right? ADA, and XRP. So at least, study those 5 and, do your own research on those if you want to kind of have some exposure to that, because these are the future of finance over here. He's trying to build a competitor, try to compete with the Federal Reserve here. I think that you could really create the transaction economy here, that you don't really need the Federal Reserve to backstop anything. But again, that's gonna require political will, right? Because Federal Reserve is pretty powerful. They've been controlling the world for the last 300 years. So 300 years, probably a little bit less than that. When did the Federal Reserve created? It was like 1913 or something like that, something crazy. So and again, these type of like forum, right? It's kind of like scary how they're like openly talking about how they could like implant memories, fake memories on people's minds and shit. Like, what? Have they been doing that to us all this time? And then one of the things that I was listening to too, and again, like openly discussing it, it's like as if like, oh yeah, this is normal. It's like, what? Like nobody pay attention. Nobody thinks that this is like crazy. Nothing. And then one other, I forgot which one. He was saying that he was gonna, like, if you want to make people allergic to eating meat because they, carbon emission and all that stuff, they would just inject you with an antibody that will make you allergic to beef and stuff. It's like they're talking about like injecting people and making them sick from eating meat. Can you imagine that? Like, oh my goodness, you think it's not gonna happen? Of course they're gonna try to do it. Oh my goodness. So listen to this lady.
Having seen that person commit the crime, even though that person's utterly innocent, that it becomes a planted memory. And so there's some really interesting research that we can plant false memories in the brain. And in a different context, one of the emerging areas that's really interesting in law neuroscience is pain detection. And once we understand the circuitries that cause pain, I guess the question is, could we then instill pain and use that in many coercive measures in the legal system as well? So.
Wow, that's amazing. Did you want to add anything, Brian?
Yeah, if they're gonna do it to criminal, right? So, oh, we're only gonna do this to this criminal. You think they're not gonna do it to the innocent people? Like crazy, these people. I don't know what world we're gonna live in, you guys. Hopefully you have tons of GME shares so you could escape this world here. I don't know, planet Mars or something. That might be a safer place, you guys, than here. Sorry, guys. I don't know why I'm babbling so much on nothing at all to do with GME. But I apologize. XRP is also a good place, in a good place. About to break out over here. And then, of course, this is Florida. Already passed.
To vote up.
Passed the Bitcoin Reserve Bill. Crazy, huh? Crazy time we're living in. ADA, kind of partying up with the MasterCard. Man, great time to be alive. Michael Saylor advocating Bitcoin, of course. I was listening to his interview a little bit here to try to understand how Jimmy could kind of play in that role as well. And this really kind of resonate with me as well. And again, you could substitute this with any security that you are interested in. But this is Charles Hoskinson. He's the creator of Cardano. He used to work for Ethereum chain and all that stuff, but then he broke off because he thought that Ethereum has problem in scaling. So, and then also too, the way that he, like peer-to-peer review and all that stuff. He's more like a long-term perspective, taking a long-term approach of building blockchain that includes, peer-reviewed, that every code, again, remember, the code is only as good as the coder. So if the coders are evil in nature and left to their own device, you could imagine that you're gonna, use an evil blockchain that only benefit a few, just like how we have right now, that the Federal Reserve is able to do this. Now, yes, winner takes all type thing, but it's nice to have a chain that kind of thought about, okay, peer reviewed and all that stuff. I don't know all the process, you guys. It's too technical for me, but I'm hoping there's a lot of good people in this chain over here. So to create the code that run the worlds the best way we know how, that benefit majority of humanity.
In 7 years' time since Cardano launched, we went from nothing to an 11-figure network with millions of people and the largest research group in the world and the passion of the young people. And in another decade's time, we'll be larger than Ethereum. And in another decade's time, we'll be larger than Bitcoin. And in another decade's time, the majority of governments in the world will run on our infrastructure because they trust it. That is what thinking in decades gives you.
That's important, right? I mean, that's what Ryan Cohen is trying to achieve with GameStop as well. Yes, he's think of ways to grow much quicker, okay, than we could ever imagine. But in order to do that, you have to build the infrastructure or the foundation for the company to grow faster. because without the strong foundation, you can't grow faster. Because if you grow faster without the foundation, what happened? You're done after after people left, because they're there for the only upside, right? They're not there to pick up the pieces when the company's gone. And so again, having leadership like this who thinks in decades on end is really beneficial for long-term shareholder. Obviously, yes, short-term minded people could benefit as well if you could time it right. But if you don't, then you're gonna be a backholder, right? Quote unquote. It's like, okay, learn your lesson, hopefully. If not, okay, come back later. Come and play it with the casino too. Call option here too, 1 or 2. That's great on you, but just be careful with that. Anyway, I have tons of stuff too, and then this is like more of a motivational thing. It's like so let's listen in. We don't experience pain today, but a couple of days ago, this would have been a good inspirational thing. So let's listen in.
Just shut up and let me enjoy this pain.
Welcome to the pain zone. It's where we live.
When I'm hurt, I love it. I love that feeling because it's real.
You need to love pain.
Be the guy who embraces the ugly, the miserable. Be the guy who embraces hard work, the grind. Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid of sacrificing some blood.
Everything else, happiness could be fake, crying could be fake, but pain? Shit. That's real.
However, mentally, physically, love it. You need to love it. If not, stay where you are.
Oh, stay where you are if you don't love pain. Anyway, start. That was too intense though. Not too intense, but you got the point, hopefully. And of course, this is why I bring Warren Buffett all the time, you guys, because again, this is a sound advice, and I have a feeling this is also what Ryan Cohen, leadership is trying to achieve here. Okay, so let's listen in.
I'm not recommending that people buy stocks today or tomorrow or next week or next month. I think it all depends on your circumstances, but you shouldn't buy stocks unless you expect, in my view, you expect to hold them for a very extended period and you are prepared financially and psychologically to hold them the same way you would hold a farm and never look at a quote and never pay it. You don't need to pay attention to them. I mean, the main thing to do, and you're not going to pick the bottom, and nobody else can pick it for you or anything of the sort. You've got to be prepared to, when you buy a stock, to have it go down 50% or more and be comfortable with it.
There you go. Word of wisdom right there. Okay. Dare I say any more things? No, not going to add anything. Okay, Jens went down. Of course, the uncertainty is still here, but again, the uncertainty is on the equity market. Okay, SPY is gonna take a hit quite a bit, I feel, because again, we all know what it is, you guys. It's overvalued. Every single stock that you see is overvalued. That's why Warren Buffett has tons of cash. So take it from the greatest investor out there, okay? And maybe it's gonna correct to, I don't know. I mean, look at this. I mean, can I draw a fib anywhere? What if I dare draw this fib over here? And so we're just in the first stage, you guys. So technically it could go to the second level. Will it freak people out? Yeah, it will freak people out for sure. But you think I'm scared? No. You have to experience some pain around here. So this is the last level. And again, even if it comes down here, you're still on the uptrend. I'm telling you, that's how overinflated this market is. Okay. So what does that mean? It means that it needs to correct and come down. Okay. So this might be the dead cat bounce that we were seeing for a little while. Now the pause in tariffs is really to cool off. People perhaps panic selling on the indexes. Now, as far as the individual stocks, though, Nvidia and all that, the Magnificent Seven, it's gonna have to take a hit as well. I wouldn't touch those 7 for now. Not to say that they're gonna go bankrupt or anything. It's just that the valuation is going to be repriced, and you might be able to get those good companies that you love to, like Broadcom or whatever you want, or, like big company that you think, like AVGO. I know somebody who has this and really trust that it's a good company there. I mean, it has pretty good earnings actually, but I just see this and I'm like, yeah, it's blown. But I'm looking at, like under 100 would be a good price to be, and I think it's gonna come down to that. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. Why am I saying for sure all the time? I wouldn't mind buying this company at $90. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so lots of companies on discount right now, if you know where to look, of course. But GME is one of the main course for me anyway. And then Bitcoin, I accumulate some more. I want it a little bit cheaper, but again, like in 10 years, who cares? The difference of like $10,000 on it. I mean, if it's gonna go to $1 million, right? Who cares? It's not gonna be much difference there. So, name of the game is dollar cost averaging down whenever you can, before nation state is coming for Bitcoin. Remember, there's only limited amount of Bitcoin out there, and so yes, if you buy GME, you've got you have Bitcoin per share. Depends on how many Bitcoins they're gonna own. And so technically you have exposure to Bitcoin already as a shareholder, which is a good thing. And so that's gonna entice people to hold onto this company for the long haul if they continue adding more Bitcoin to the balance sheet. And yeah, and treasury bond too. Hopefully he add more of that too, right? Remember, $2 billion. If he do $2 billion of treasury bond, and then the rest into Bitcoin, that would be great, right? Being the number 2 top holder of Bitcoin is pretty nice spot to be in, right? Number 1 being MicroStrategy. I feel like we could beat MicroStrategy, but in time though, in time. Now, if it runs anytime soon, just expect dilution, because like that's the best thing that we could do to capture these advantages that we have right now. And I wouldn't blame him if he were to issue, dilution, issue more convertible bond in order to, get more Bitcoin in that sense. So, but again, we're not leveraged to the tilt. We're not in need of cash or anything like that. This is just a strategy that we're doing, whether to shake, the short out of their position so that, we could honestly grow this company without manipulation, without being manipulated by the short interest out there. But again, those market participants gonna come anyway. You can't get rid of them other than, to operate the company on the plus and in profit and grow, the balance sheets in many way possible. Bitcoin is just a weapon against, egregious shorting. Okay, because again, if you short Bitcoin, you're dumb. I'm sorry. Yes, you might be able to kind of, temporarily win for a short period of time, but eventually you're gonna lose. So, if you think you could short it and make money, good on you, but you're dumb. Sorry. Okay. All right, guys. I think I have to go. I'm kind of hungry, actually. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the show. I know I babble a lot today. Sorry, I didn't show you any video, but maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, right? So we might see some firework there. I might be getting a lot more excitement then, But yeah, it's remain to be seen. Hopefully, we see something green and something in between. Who knows? Little tweets here and there. But I really think Nat Turner is going to be next, though. Nat Turner. Just keep an eye on tomorrow's form 4, okay? All right, guys. Adios.